So more thoughts. I was thinking about, the idea of weaving. Athena's associated being the master weaver, and weaving is a big part of Penelope, and it was a big, like, sort of feminine virtue, and it also has to do with the, weaving fate, and, invisible string tying me to you, and all of that kind of thing. And that I was thinking about had to do with, Penelope, you wear the same jewels that I gave you as you bury me. Has to keep weaving and unweaving this funeral shroud for her father, and she kept saying, well, when I'm done, I'll marry someone else, and then she kept unweaving it at night, to kind of keep procrastinating. That was one of her big tricks, and so that made me think of that. And also, you could even say that about Taylor, because Taylor, constantly, she keeps weaving and unweaving the narrative, so in a way, she's kind of like a Penelope, which would make sense, because she also... Sorry for the weird angle. Whoop. She pictures herself in My Tears Ricochet as in these widow weeds, this black dress versus the other white dress that we saw with her and Aaron when she, I don't know if that was from the I Bet You Think About Me. Now she's in black, like a black giant skirt. And if you watch the video, and I just found some good qualities of it, so I'll post that too on TikTok from YouTube. And it seems like the circumference of the light around her shrinks. So it's kind of a bit of you, like, right where you left me, where Penelope was left there for 20 years. She's just, like, sitting there, and, like, the floor is getting darker, and it's sort of collapsing in on her, kind of like a black hole. It's really interesting. So this is a better shot of the ship, and yeah, looks more like it's not a Achaean warship, but you get the idea. It's more of a battleship, which also goes back into, like, her idea of love as a game, love as a card game, and all of that. Battleship is also a game. Okay, what else did I have to say? Oh, the other thing that there's a lot about insomnia. Penelope can't sleep because she's so upset, so she often, Athena blesses her with this sleep that allows her to sleep in a worry-free sleep. And then also I thought of this, which was very upsetting, which was, if even you can't sleep at night, you hear my stolen lullabies, could have to do with the fact that, obviously it's like a reference to her masters and all of that, but it could also, in this context, have to do with the fact that Odysseus missed the first 20 years of his son's life. He had to leave and go to Troy when Telemachus was just born. It's like 6 months or something, or maybe a year. So he missed 20 years of his life and 20 years of lullabies. So in a way, him having to go through the war and have this whole long, homecoming journey was the fates stealing his lullabies, which I thought was devastating. And then also Helen drugs Telemachus and his friend and Menelaus when he goes to visit them, and which is another, like, way of tears ricocheting of, like, her, that whole war had, like, multi-generational fallout because of the loss of life and the loss of time and all of that. And, of course, the sack of Troy and all of that. And, let's see. Look at how My Tears Ricochet. One of the times that Odysseus cries is when he hears someone singing about the Trojan War, when he's sort of in disguise at that feast with Nausicaa and the Phaeacians. He starts crying because he hears it, and that kind of blows his cover, and he has to be like, actually, I'm Odysseus, and this is why I'm crying hysterically. So you could say, like, that could also apply to Taylor, like, in her tears are ricocheting, like, when she talks about how the transmutational power of song and how the songs started off being about her, but then they become about her relationship with the fan, and they become about the fans' lives, and how that, the idea of All Too Well becomes about everyone else's heartbreak, and her tears are sort of like, become our tears, or it's songs we listen to cry, and that kind of multiplicity of the tears. There's a lot going on with, like, all of the really interesting. I want to do a video, and, well, before I do the video, I have to think about it. But I really want to go through and look at all of the elements that are used in the different transitions between the eras in Reputation, because I think they're really interesting in how she uses the elements of earth, wind, air, and fire at different points in the show, and if there's some sort of resonance with that. I found that a lot I had a PowerPoint party with my friends, and I did a PowerPoint on the alchemical symbolism in the music video of Bejeweled. So I have those slides, so I'll make a video of that. And that is all about, like, elemental, imagery and different, uses of water, earth, fire, and colors, to represent things burning and rebirth and all of that. So I'm assuming that that is also happening with the Eras Tour, and it's really interesting. The other thing that I was thinking a lot about was with the water imagery. It's really interesting how I still have to think about why she has these candles in My Tears Ricochet that have these wicks that instead of flame are water, which is really cool. I'm still puzzling over that, but I like it. And I was thinking about also Marjorie, when she says that in Marjorie, you always took me swimming, and I was too afraid to go into the deep, and it was cold, and I was, like, upset, and I was crying, and I complained all the way home, and I just wish that I had asked you, more about your life, or how to, should have asked you questions, I should have asked you how to be, and asked you to write it down for me. And I feel like that is sort of like Jungian symbolism for her maturity and her growth, and when she's sort of versus being afraid to jump into the water, now that she's fully falling, illumined in the sunlight, and she's kind of like drowning and also having this rebirth and sort of becoming the water avatar, which you can see more in the Bejeweled video too. She sort of gains mastery over the thing that she was once too scared to dive in. Similar to that, when she's doing the burlesque striptease with Dita Von Teese and the giant martini glasses, that's her kind of learning to master that element, and I'm seeing that again here with this water element. So basically, this makes me feel a lot better, and that I'm not insane, and that this song seems to be pretty canonically about the whole Masters debacle. Definitely one of my absolute faves, and so scathing and so deep, and I think the visuals are unbelievable. And let me end this video here before I get on another tangent.